Hi everyone and welcome to For Teachers. In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys some of the happy memories that I have from the first couple of years that I spent working as a primary school teacher. I have talked about my first teaching job a couple of times already on this channel, but in today's video, I'm going to share with you some of the funny stories, some of the happy memories I have, some of the school trips that I took with my students that are fond memories that I have saved in my mind, and just some of the positive times that I had in my first teaching job. The reason I've decided to make this video today is because I know there are a lot of people in the UK who are about to start their first ever teaching jobs. And I'm also getting a lot of messages from people saying that they are worried about their new jobs and they don't know how to prepare for their new jobs and they don't know what to expect from the first couple of years of teaching full time. Hopefully, just listening to me talk about these memories and talk about these little sparks of joy that I had throughout the first couple of years will inspire you with your own teaching. Maybe it will give you some ideas for school trips or projects or just things that you can get involved with in your new school. And hopefully just having a listen to some of my most memorable moments will help to inspire you as a primary school teacher too. Very quickly, before we start today's video, I would like to share with you guys a giveaway that I'm working on with the company OhhDeer. As a primary school teacher, I am always excited to stock up on new notebooks and diaries and planners and stationery pens and pencil cases and lovely things like that for my classroom before the start of a new academic year. So I was really excited when OhhDeer reached out to me and sent me some of their amazing products from their website. I will share some of these products with you guys now, and then I will share details of how you can enter today's giveaway in order to win some exclusive stationery items that you can have in your classroom too. These are the first items I'm going to share with you because I think these are probably the most useful for the time of year that this video is going up. OhhDeer have sent me some really beautiful cards which I think would be absolutely perfect for the end of term as a school teacher. If you have been on a teaching placement, it might be really nice to consider getting a thank you card for your mentor or just somebody in the school that you've been working at that's really helped you along the way, maybe somebody that's helped to keep your spirits up. I remember getting a card for all of the kitchen staff at one of the placement schools that I was working at because every single morning they greeted me with a smile and they made me some really delicious lunches to have while I was a hungry student. So it's a really nice idea to get some cards together in a set ready to give out at the end of your placement. It is also Ryan's birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to give him one of these two cards. I'm not too sure which one yet. I think I'm going to give him this one because it feels very him. OhhDeer have also sent me some really beautifully designed stationery for my classroom, and I cannot wait to have these on my desk at the start of the next academic year. OhhDeer also sent me a desk planner which I think will be incredibly useful for getting myself organised next year. I'm also very excited to organise all of my new stationery into the pencil case that they have sent me as well. In order to be in with a chance of winning a stationery set very similar to the set that I have been sent by OhhDeer, all you have to do is follow a couple of really simple steps. Step number 1 is to make sure that you are following For Teachers and OhhDeer on Instagram. Step 2 is to make sure you are subscribed to the For Teachers YouTube channel. And step number 3 is to leave a comment down below letting me know which product from this collection is your favourite. The winner will be chosen on June the 29th from the comments down below. A link to the OhhDeer website is listed below if you would like to check out their full collection. Thank you so much to OhhDeer for sending me such a beautiful collection of stationery gifts. I'm really looking forward to finding out which of my subscribers is lucky enough to win this stationery selection. And now that I've finished sharing details of this giveaway, it's time to get on with the video. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is give you a little bit more information about the first job that I got as a school teacher. I qualified in 2013 and I started teaching in Manchester city centre. I have talked quite openly and I have talked quite a lot about my first teaching job on this channel. In today's video, I would like to give you a little bit more insight into my first teaching job and try to explain why it was such a difficult job, because it was a really hard school to go into for my NQT year or my first year of teaching. But at the same time, having had so many years to reflect on that first teaching job and really think about what it taught me, I realise now that it was such an amazing, positive and enriching experience, and it's definitely helped to turn me into the teacher that I am today. So even though it was a difficult first job, I'm going to be looking at it through an incredibly positive lens in this video. When I qualified in 2013, I was ready to get a job in Manchester. I was not overly fussed about the school that I would start working in. I didn't have a school in mind that I was aiming to get a job in. I just sent lots of applications out to schools that caught my eye or the applications stood out on a website, and I used TES and I would look on each morning, and if a new school had come up I might try and draft an application to the schools. I wasn't trying to get a job in a certain type of school, or I didn't have my eye on a school that I really wanted to work at. For a bit of context, the school that I was teaching in was in a particularly tricky area. There was a lot of children at the school I was working at that had additional needs that I had to think about as a school teacher, and I think it was quite a difficult place to take my NQT year. Because of the context of the school and because it was such a difficult place to work. I did find that a lot of the teachers that worked in the school became really close to one another. I actually made quite a lot of friends teaching at this school, because the nice thing about being around people that are going through similar struggles to you is that you kind of have to rely on them to lift your spirits. We played a lot of games together, we would go on a lot of day trips, we would have nights out together. We really had to work hard to keep our spirits high when we were surrounded by so many challenges at the school. So I would say, if you are worried about your first year of teaching and you are worried about going into a school perhaps that's in a slightly more difficult area, or perhaps working at a school where you think there might be quite a lot of very specific challenges, maybe you've been given a year group that you weren't expecting, or maybe you're going to be working in a role that you weren't really expecting when you put the application together, just let it be known that if you surround yourself with people that are positive and you spend time together outside of the workplace as well, you might find that the first couple of years are a little bit easier for you. That being said, I'm going to share with you guys some of the happiest memories I have of working at this school, a lot of which seem to revolve around going on school trips. I don't know why, but I seem to plan quite a lot of really exciting activities for my students, so hopefully me sharing some of the trips that we took today might give you some ideas for your first year too. In my first year of teaching, I decided to contact Wagamama and just see if there was anything they could provide for my students, maybe an experience day or a school trip, or perhaps they could come into the school and teach them lessons about the food. And maybe I was really hungry on this day when I decided to contact them. I don't really know why. I think it was because Ryan's class had arranged a trip with Pizza Hut, and they had gone to Pizza Hut and the students had learnt about how to make pizzas or something like that. But I decided to reach out to Wagamama Manchester and ask them if there was anything that my students could do that was educational through their company. I don't know if Wagamama would still provide this service, but they did reach back out to me and they said that I could take my whole class on a trip, and all the staff at Wagamama showed the children how to make the food. They talked about where the food came from, all the different countries and the influences. They showed them how to create the meals, and then every child had the opportunity to eat something from the menu. I think this was amazing in so many ways because it was such an out there, different opportunity. At the time in school, we were looking at persuasive writing and we were looking at advertisement, and going on this school trip really triggered a string of events where the children were able to look at the menus and look at the posters and the advertisements, and the children had a project where they could reflect on what they learned on this trip, and they wrote their own menus and they wrote their own ads and posters, and it was really, really nice just to do something a little bit different outside of the classroom as well. I have no idea if Wagamama still provide a service like that. I know that the year that I went on this trip was 2013, so I imagine that quite a lot of schools have caught on to this kind of trip now, so I don't know if maybe they limit the number of schools that can have this opportunity or if it is a little bit different. But I would say, as a school teacher, if there is a restaurant, a cafe, a company, or anything that's near the location of the school that you are working in, try giving them a call and just ask and just say, what can you provide for students? Is there any opportunity for my children to come in, and can I bring a class of students? Do you do an experience day? Can you come into school and talk to them about manufacturing? Can you talk to them about trade? Can you talk to them about the products that you create or the food that you create? And I just found that by reaching out to companies that I didn't think would be able to offer an experience, I actually ended up with loads of really, really cool and interesting experiences and trips coming up for my students. When I was at university in Sheffield, I was part of the ski society, and I really enjoyed doing this. I was still really enthused by it when I started my first teaching job, so I decided to see if there was any way that I could bring that passion into the classroom. I decided to contact the Chill Factor, which was an indoor ski slope which is quite close to the school that I was teaching in, and they had some money available that they could spend upskilling and giving opportunities to children that worked in inner city schools. So just by reaching out and contacting this company, next thing you know, I had loads of really interesting trip opportunities for my students. There was a selection of students that were put onto a scheme and they were able to go each week and they had ski lessons, and for some of the children in the area that I was teaching in, this was a huge opportunity and possibly something that they wouldn't have had the chance to do otherwise. So my advice here would be, if you have an interest or something that you did at university, maybe a club or a sport or a skill or just something that you're interested in, try to see if there is a way for you to bring that into the classroom. Even if it's something really out there like skiing or an extreme sport, there is no harm in just contacting some companies and seeing what they can provide for your students. I also had the opportunity to take my students to a skate park where they received skateboarding lessons, just because I decided to pick up the phone and ask and say, do you run anything for primary school students? And I managed to block this so that every other week they had this as part of their PE lesson. They were able to go to the skate park, they were taught the skills that they needed to be safe while doing this. The instructors also talked to them about road safety, about the management of the skate park, and it was just such an amazing opportunity to take Year 5 students out for part of their PE curriculum to go to a skate park and to have fun exercising in this way. I know that some of the students that went and did this ended up taking up this sport as a hobby, and they did this outside of school as well. So I just think this was a really cool opportunity, and what I'm trying to tell you by talking about all of these interesting school trips is that anything that you want to book for your class, have a go and see if you can do it. Ask if there's anyone who works on like an education team for the company that you can speak to, and just see what you can get for the children in your class. I think it really helped to turn my first teaching job into such an enriching experience, and I learned so much going on these trips with my students, and I just know that I'm not going to forget these memories. They're going to be part of my teaching journey for as long as I decide to stay in the classroom, and I think that anyone watching this video should try and book something interesting themselves. Please let me know down below in the comments if you have booked a really out there or a different or an exciting school trip for your students, and if it is a happy memory for you, please share it with other people so that they can get some ideas too. And I think the children that you teach will definitely thank you for it as well. I know that I've just talked about school trips for a while, quite specifically as happy memories that I have from my first teaching job, but there are so many other things that really helped to make this first job so special for me as well. There was definitely one standout kind of golden happy moment that I spent in my first school, and it's something that's a little bit different and it's a little bit out there, and it's something that I didn't realise would have such a positive impact on me going forward as an educator. It really opened my eyes to what you can achieve with your students if you think outside of the box and do something a little bit different. The school that I was working at would always have a great big music celebration, so students were invited to sing, they were invited to dance, they were invited to play instruments and rap and show off their talents, and it was always something that the whole school community really looked forward to. I remember the person that ran this school celebration was always really keen on having teachers be part of the event by sitting and watching and enjoying the show and feeling as though it was an hour where you could just switch off and you could enjoy. It was just a really special memory, and it's a really special event that sticks out in my mind as something that I would look forward to at my old school. There was one year where I was finding it particularly difficult to manage my time, and I found that I was quite stressed during lunch times. I don't know what it was, but I was not sitting down for very long and eating my food, and I was preparing resources a lot, and I was getting my classroom ready for whatever was coming up after lunch, and I wasn't taking very much time for myself, and I decided to put my name forward to be in a teacher band. When I was in high school, I learned to play the drums. I'm not very good. I can play a little bit, I can play some songs. I used to play in a samba band, so I was okay at holding a beat and I have a little bit of rhythm. So I decided to volunteer to be part of the teacher band. This was actually something that we kept secret from a lot of the teachers in the school, as well as most of the students in the school. So we didn't tell them that we were creating a teacher band, and our rehearsals were hidden away. We used to practice away from the students. Some of the students were part of the band as well, so they were in on the band and they knew that we were going to be rehearsing together. So we had some students playing keyboard and some other instruments, and they were involved in the band as well, which was really exciting. We had the deputy head of the school playing the bass guitar. We had the IT technician of the school as our singer, and it was a really nice, interesting combination of people that were involved with the school, all coming together and rehearsing at lunchtimes. And some days I only had 5 minutes, and I would run into that room and I would play for 5 minutes, then I would run back out and I would start preparing for my lesson. But just having that tiny bit of time where I wasn't thinking about schoolwork and I was just releasing and enjoying myself and playing an instrument, and my mind was taken away and there was some music on, and it was a really relaxing atmosphere, and it definitely helped to reset me, and it made me feel more connected to myself. And I always felt like after I went back into the classroom to teach for the afternoon after doing a band practice or a rehearsal, I was always a much more positive teacher. I used to go back into the classroom feeling really positive, and I used to have a really nice time with my students because I had been reset and I felt like my well-being was in check and I was feeling really positive, and we just always had nice afternoons after I took some time to go and do band practice with some of the teachers, which, you know, is a little bit different, but it's something that I really enjoyed doing. When it came to the actual performance day, we had this whole thing that we'd put together, and it was a bit of a joke where some of the students would start playing a terrible song, where we would start heckling and we'd say, "This is terrible, get off the stage." And then the students had permission to shout back and say, "Well, do you think you could do any better?" And we were like, "Yeah, of course we could do better, let us have a go." And I heckled up the rest of the band, so I would say, "Come on, like, you can play the bass, you can sing." And I brought all the members of the band onto the stage, and all the children lost their minds. They thought it was so cool that we were going onto the stage. I remember sitting down with this drum kit and sort of looking at the sticks and being like, "I don't know how to play, I'm just gonna make things up." And then the whole band started playing together and everyone just sort of lost their minds a bit. It was really beautiful. Everyone was cheering, and then we played a couple of songs on the stage, and we brought some of the students onto the stage, and we brought some of the teachers onto the stage, and it just felt like a really nice sort of community connection moment. I remember my class of students saying, "That was amazing, you did such a good job, we're so proud of you." And I was thinking, these are the words that I say to you guys all the time. And it was really nice because we encourage students to be risk takers, and we encourage students to try and push themselves and go up on stage and conquer their fears all the time. And for the first time at that school, in that kind of context, I was doing the same thing because I was nervous, and I was sat there thinking, "Oh no, like, I'm going on the stage next and nobody knows, and am I going to forget what I'm doing?" And I think to put myself into the mindset of some of my own students just really helped me to feel a stronger connection with them, because some of the children in my class had been singing on the stage that morning, and I guess me watching the students on the stage and feeling so proud of them was probably the reversal of them watching their teacher on stage doing the same kind of thing. So if you are looking for something to do during your first teaching job that is a little bit out there and a little bit different, maybe consider signing up for something like that, maybe a performance or something that will really push you out of your comfort zone. It might make you feel a stronger connection to your school community, and it might make you feel a stronger connection to the students that you teach as well. I think it's only recently that I've been able to look at my first teaching job through such a positive lens. I always knew that I was learning a lot. I always knew that I was taking on a lot of challenges and that I was growing as an educator. But I don't think until recently I've really been able to look back at that first job through such a positive and reflective lens. I think when you are in the heat of it in your first job and you feel like there is so much going on and you're busy and you're tired and you're confused, and it's the first time that you've written reports, and it's the first time that you've planned school trips, and it's the first time you've done parent meetings and school events, and there's so many different things hitting you at the same time that it's really, really hard to look at the experiences that you have and realize how much they are impacting you as a growing professional and how much you are really learning from these experiences too. I learned so many amazing things, and I've become skilled in so many ways that I didn't realize that I would become as a school teacher. So I really hope that listening to me talk about some of the positive memories I have from my first couple of years of teaching today have helped to inspire you and have helped you to feel a little bit more positive about starting your first teaching job this year. Please consider subscribing to 4Teachers, following me on Instagram for lots of teacher tips and updates, and by giving this video a thumbs up to let me know that maybe you do like this chatty style of video a little bit more, and that it doesn't always have to be specific tips or specific pieces of advice. Sometimes maybe just me talking about my personal experiences in the classroom might help you guys to develop some plans and some ideas of your own too. Don't forget to leave a comment down below letting me know what your favourite item from the OhhDeer stationery parcel that I was sent was, in order to be in with a chance of winning a parcel of your own. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you guys on the next video.